Here again with another Vinyl Finds video. It's been a while since I've honestly done one of these videos. It's been at least a month or so, but I haven't really bought too many albums, or honestly at all. I haven't really gone to too many record stores. I mean, I've gone to a couple ones that are local, but like I haven't even gone to Irvington Vinyl in the last month or so since the last Vinyl Finds video. Although kind of afraid to go in there because I always spend a ton of money, more than I want to when I go in there, so it's kind of the reason why I haven't gone in there. But I was actually at Dayton, Ohio this past Saturday. I was actually going there to go to a Ring of Honor wrestling show, and turns out that the Omega Music, and I went there back in July when I saw Blondie when I was in Dayton back then, and turns out that the venue that this wrestling that Ring of Honor was at was actually only a mile away from Omega Music. So I ended up going into Omega Music and I was browsing around there, and I just honestly didn't find anything in there, and I was actually kind of disappointed and surprised that I didn't find nothing that really interested me inside Omega Music. A lot of the stuff that they had, it seemed like it was more newer albums, and didn't seem like they really had too many used albums. It was more newer albums, but definitely was happy to be able to go in there still and browse around for the second time this year, because I mean, I usually don't make it up to Ohio too many times in the year, but definitely was happy to go in there and check it out. It's definitely a neat store, but unfortunately didn't find anything this time, but do have a couple albums to show from other various stops that I've had within the last month. I'm just going to start off showing some Discog buys. The first album I bought is an original 1998 copy of Beastie Boys' Hello Nasty. I'm not a huge Beastie Boys fan. I do enjoy several of their songs, and this is an album that I wanted. I didn't want to pay too much for. I actually found this one on Discogs for like $10. I mean, I really enjoyed the song Intergalactic. Vividly remember watching the music video back in the day, but definitely one that I wanted for sure, and I'm glad to get for not too expensive. And the another album that I picked up on Discogs is this one actually came out on Record Store Day this year originally, and it's Polaris, music from the Adventures of Pete and Pete. Polaris actually did several songs for the television show Pete and Pete, which I used to love back in the day. I used to watch that when I was a kid on Nickelodeon, and a lot of these songs on this album definitely bring back memories. Like the first song on this album, Hey Sandy, is actually the opening song for the show. And it's honestly just a really good song. Honestly, if you just like music from this time period, which just came out in, 1994, 1995 probably, originally. And honestly, the songs are just really good. Definitely recommend checking them out if you've never listened to Polaris before. And I think they're actually were just recently doing some tours and maybe doing some new songs for like the first time since then, because I think these guys were just brought in as like the house band for that show. I think Nickelodeon actually brought them in specifically to make songs for that show. But I mean, it's a pretty solid album. I definitely am glad to finally have it, because after Record Store Day, I couldn't find it on Record Store Day. After Record Store Day online, the prices for the album were just ridiculously insane. But it seems like they're finally dropping to a normal price level now, so that's good. Then another album I picked this up honestly probably almost a month ago, and I picked it up when it came out actually. It's I picked this one up at FYE. It's Keith Richards' Cross-Eyed Heart, the newest Keith Richards album. Just a fantastic album by Keith Richards. I just love this album. Every single song on here really is, for the most part, really excellent. I was really glad to get it. It's a really cool gatefold. Just sounds amazing. Definitely has that Rolling Stones sound to it, which, I mean, obviously need Keith Richards, but just a great album. Definitely recommend checking Cross-Eyed Heart out if you haven't yet. And then cut a couple of things I found at Half Price Books and several different stops. The first one being, it's a Cure album, the Cure Mixed Up. and it's just it's a 2 LP set, and it's just like extended mixes and alternative mixes from other Cure songs. It's more of like a compilation of songs that they've just remixed. This is an original 1990 copy though. Paid like $4 for this one, so not too bad on that one. Then another half-price books that I got is actually a original master recording, Mobile Fidelity, Pat Benatar, In the Heat of the Night, her first album. Actually, they had $2 on this album. I really couldn't believe it. I mean, as for Mobile Fidelities, I'm sure this one online and everywhere probably is on the cheaper end of Mobile Fidelities, but still $2 for a Mobile Fidelity. Just I couldn't pass it up. I have the original version of this album. I honestly really do enjoy Pat Benatar. So it's definitely cool to have the Mobile Fidelity version of this one. It is a cutout right there if you can see, but it does sound fantastic. I'll pay $2 for any Mobile Fidelity any day. So definitely was surprised I had that cheap of that price on that album. But it's half-price books. The prices still amaze me. And speaking of half-price books, another album that I got at half-price books. Well, I don't know, it's not really an album. It's more like a 10-inch. It just has not even a song on it, but it's really kind of interesting because I didn't even know this even came out or existed until I found it at Half Price Books, and it's William S. Burroughs reciting The Priest They Called Him, and Kurt Cobain actually plays he's strumming his guitar in the background while he's he's saying his like little story, but definitely cool to find this, and it is an original 1993 copy. Still in the shrink wrap. It's just really cool, and Chris Novoselic is actually apparently in that picture right there. He's actually on the cover, so it's kind of interesting. It's just on black wax, and on the back it's actually pretty cool if you can see it there. It's actually got both William and Kurt Cobain's initials etched in the back. And I think originally this came out as like a picture disc, and then they eventually released it on like CD and a 10-inch record, as you can see here. But I listened to it, and it's definitely interesting. I mean, all Kurt Cobain does is kind of not even really play the guitar; he's just kind of strumming on the guitar. But it's just kind of cool, one of those cool things to have, and it was not very expensive either, so I definitely had to pick that up. And they did get a few things at the Vinyl Rescue Project. I found Meat Puppets Mirage, an original 1987 copy. You can never go wrong with the Meat Puppets. Always try to look out for their stuff. And I guess got 2 more albums to show, and then it's going to wrap it up. The next one I got is this one, fairly new as well. It's Mad Season and the Seattle Symphony. At Sonic Evolution at the I think they were playing in Seattle on January 30th, 2015. It's got Chris Cornell doing lead vocals on most of the tracks, not all of the tracks. There's a couple Temple of the Dog songs they do as well. Pretty cool album though altogether. Definitely was one that I had been looking for, and I'm glad to have finally picked that up. And the last album I got is the newest Wilco album, Star Wars. Just picked this up the other day actually, and it's actually some of Wilco's newer stuff in the last couple of years I really couldn't really get into, but I really enjoyed this album when I heard it on the CD, and I really just had to get it on vinyl, so I ended up picking it up, and of course I had to get the indie record store edition just on the white vinyl. But really solid album by Wilco. Can't really go too wrong on that one. Definitely, I feel like one of their better albums in a while. But that's all the albums I have to show. Hopefully, I can have another video up soon. Maybe sooner than a month or so, anyway. But anyway, that's all I have to show. Thanks again, guys, for watching. And I'll see you guys.